And good evening, everyone. Ron here. And wow, what a week it's been. What a week it's been. It's been a little bit more than a week for my stream. Mr. T and I went on a little vacation and went and visited Texas Girl and Juniper for Easter. I hope you all had a good Easter. So I'll wait and see if we get some folks coming on in. Hey, Linda. So, how you like my background here? I think it's kind of fitting, actually. Hi, Brenda. Hey, Giovanna. So, on a side note, I did manage to get my hearing aids so I can hear. Didn't know I had a hearing problem, but apparently, so now I'm hearing things that I had no idea I was even missing. So got the hearing aids, got just getting used to them, and keeping an eye on how things are going. I figured I'd just keep it kind of loose here tonight, but at the same time, we do have some cause for celebration. But again, just like everything else that's going on in this world today, we have to kind of put that in our pocket and move on. So, back in February of 2023 was, 2022, was when I started to, I'm going to set my chair up a little. Kind of bottomed out. So the whole thing about the activity for the last year plus has been about the state of emergency. Now, we went through iterations, went over and spoke to senators, spoke to congressmen, and kind of got the gist on what needed to happen. And everything was tied to this state of emergency. So now we have to hold their feet to the fire, because this state of emergency that we were trying to end all last year, it has now ended. H.J. Res 7, right here, passed the House, passed the Senate, went to the resident, and it's done. As of the 10th, which was Monday, as we were coming back from vacation, our little vacation, if you will, it passed. So we are no longer under a state of emergency. Now, this is a huge win, considering when you look at it, that has been the number one objective this entire time, to end the state of emergency concerning COVID-19 that was started March 13, 2020. Woohoo! But like I said, things are kind of short-lived, because look at number two. Number two here is to ensure National Emergencies Act is amended so it can never be abused in this manner again. See, that's the work now. So we start with our healing, the removing of our constitutional freedoms, our God-given freedoms and liberties, by ending the state of emergency that has been abusing the National Emergencies Act from 1976. Now, that's H.R. 3884 in the 94th Congress, back in 1976. So, that National Emergencies Act right here needs to be amended or repealed and replaced if it cannot be amended. And that's what we need to do. Call to action, contact your senators, contact your congressmen, and let them know now that HJRES 7, or the state of emergency, has ended, we want a modification to the existing HR 3884 from the 94th Congress, National Emergencies Act, or we want it repealed and replaced, and we want verbiage within it that will not allow an administration to abuse it in such a fashion that it's been abused for the last 3 years. That's the task at hand. But it's not the only one. It's not the only one. Number 3 on my list, okay, if I go back over to there, number 3 is to expose and to ultimately hold accountable all who abused National Emergencies Act to suppress our constitutional rights and to enrich themselves. That's been on my website now for a year, and for almost a year. Coming up in June, it'll be a year. But that's on the greywolfwalk.com site. Now, we haven't updated this site. I know that I've said we would update it, but other things and medical procedures and stuff have kind of taken over that. So right now, we can celebrate the fact that our number 1 objective has been indeed met. Now, we're working on number 2. I'm going to make some contacts with senators and congressmen and find out what the proper protocols are to do the changes to the National Emergencies Act, which was back in President Ford's time that was signed. Okay. In fact, he was the president that signed it into law. Now, that's the big ticket item. The other problem that we have is what is being called the Resist Act. I'm sorry, the Restrict Act. This is Senate Bill 686. Now, you might have seen some tweets about it. You might have seen some people talking on TikTok or something like that, saying that, we need to get rid of this. And they're right. We do need to end this. There is actually 2 acts that are currently on the floor of the Senate. One is by Josh Hawley, and that has to do with making it, taking TikTok off the Americans list. In other words, you can't get TikTok and unless they sell it and get it off the CCP. The CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, has their fingers deep into TikTok, and they are using it literally for surveillance. But people love it. Well, there's some confusion on the Hill, I will say, with respect to the Josh Hawley bill and Senate Bill 686, the Restrict Act. It would, in fact, take TikTok out. But it would also give some power that would be worse than the Patriot Act. Okay? What do I mean? What I mean is this. This is the text of 686. To authorize the Secretary of Commerce to review and prohibit certain transactions between persons in the United States and foreign adversaries and for other purposes. Now, that's kind of a really broad brush. All right? The other things that it talks about. Now, in my history, I was a vice president. I retired in 2003. And I was VP of a Silicon Valley-based internet company. And so I can tell you, I've seen these types of things come up where they want to come in and they want to take over. We dealt with that in 2001. Okay? We dealt with the fact that here I was working for an ISP, or for a company that was delivering internet services to more than 450 ISPs in 150 countries. So as a result, my NOCC, or my Network Operations Command Center, was monitoring the entire globe for quality assurance purposes, for technical establishment, for seeing a problem in some country versus another country or a city. And my team's job was to go and try and find a problem before a customer called into customer service. And that was really what it was about. But when the government found out that we had this system after 9/11, they came after it. But they couldn't get it because we were using an array of computers. It's not like I can just put it on a DVD or in the time a CD-ROM and hand it to them and say, "Oh, here you go," because we had patented it. No, they wanted now access, a portal to be able to get in there, to be able to dig in and look at those records of those many, 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 many authorization records, usernames, passwords, IP addresses, caller IDs, ANIs, you name it. So I have personally been involved with the government trying to come and take stuff. Long story short, the S686 is on the surface designed for companies like that I used to be in. But there is no fence line between them and myself as an individual. So in some parts of 686, and I've read through this, it talks about, well, we're going to have this type of a problem if customers that have more than 1 million users, obviously like what I was once involved in, that they're basically going to slam them down. Slam them down for doing transactions across using software, hardware, i.e. TikTok. Very, very, very stifling. We cannot afford 686. So what are some of the things that 686 does? Okay. 686 in general, the Secretary of Commerce shall identify and refer to the President any covered holding that the Secretary determines in consultation with the relevant executive department and agency heads poses an undue or unacceptable risk to the national security. So in other words, if an individual in DC believes that there is a threat to national security, they can come after you and they can monitor you in this act. TikTok today, Discord tomorrow, Twitter tomorrow. We lose everything. We lose all of our privacy with this bill. So it doesn't end there. They come after you. And oh, by the way, the link to 686 is in the description below. They come after you. And look what they can do. Criminal penalties. A person who willfully attempts to commit, or willfully conspires to commit, or aids or abets, wow, this is getting to be that really 2-foot wide brush, in the commission of an unlawful act described in the subsection A, shall upon conviction be fined not more than $1 million, or if a natural person, in other words, a citizen, so if you're illegal, you're fine, may be imprisoned for not more than 20 years or both. Read this bill, folks. Get involved. Call your senators and let them know you do not want, with an emphasis on do not want, 686 passed. Don't want it. Now, it's going to be coming up pretty quick, so you better start blowing up the phone lines, blow up the fax machines, blow up the emails, and blow up the handwritten letters. Don't let them have a second. 686, the Resist Act, has to be resisted. Pure and simple. So, going on to the next thing I just wanted to chat about. The resident. Well, let me back up. I was still out on the walk when they raided Mar-a-Lago. And I remember thinking, our country is gone. We have one political party using a basic police force to intimidate and to harass a former president of the United States. A president who, prior to leaving office, through an automatic measure, able to declassify the documents in which he was taken with him. The vice president does not have that authority. The president, on the other hand, does. So when Mar-a-Lago was raided, A, there was no reason for a raid. B, he was already saying, what do you need? We'll get it to you. The FBI had already been there to Mar-a-Lago, saw the documents in the room that was locked, and then simply made a comment and said, can you add a second lock? So this isn't like he was hiding something, but if you look at the left-wing media, they showed it as being all over the floor, it wasn't guarded right, blah, blah, blah. Typical left-wing media blah. It's like that Charlie Brown teacher, blah, 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 blah. Fits their narrative, right? How is it that the Department of Justice, Merrick Garland's tenure, can send agents to raid a vice or a president, a former president of the United States, and Mophead said the White House had nothing to do with it? Pierre. Well, I'm sorry. Evidence now shows that Biden himself had to sign a document removing presidential privileges in order for the FBI to do the raid. Now that's rich. The ruling party going after the opposition. By definition, that is a banana republic move. So, they're in deep crap, okay? That's going to be coming out. We don't know when that's going to be coming out, but that's got to be dealt with. You have got the White House authorizing a raid by the FBI, which is now nothing more than a political police department, on a former president. You should be outraged that that's going on in this country. And that is why I fly the flag in distress. Because we are in distress as a country. So, On the subject of the law being used against our former president, you have this Manhattan district attorney, George Soros Slacky. I think he, is one of 73 district attorneys, maybe 70, but somewhere in there. Not counting the number of sheriffs and the number of attorneys generals across the United States. That George Soros, public enemy number one, has placed in positions. So Alvin Bragg and Letitia James are trying to do whatever they can to constrain Trump so that he cannot run for office for 2024. This, again, is the definition of a banana republic. Now, of course, all the lefties out there are saying, no one is above the law. Well, if that's the case, then why isn't Hillary Clinton in prison? If that's the case, why isn't Joe Biden in prison? Why isn't Hunter Biden in prison? Why isn't Bill Clinton in prison? After all, he gave Paula $850,000 while he was in the White House. Now, this is coming back on Trump as being a violation of basically bookkeeping. Okay? A bookkeeping error, they say, which in New York is a 2-year statute of limitations, which they say happened in 2017. So there's a lot of things happening there. In 17, Trump was already president. He had already signed over his companies to his sons in 16. But Bragg's going after Trump for these bookkeeping errors, trying to say that there's 34 felonies involved. Well, in order to up-ramp that to a felony, you would think that the unsealed documents, when he went to arraignment, would say what those felonies were. What did he do? Well, they try to make you believe that it had to do with campaign finance violations. The FEC came out and said there were none. There are no campaign violations. So where is the campaign violation at? Well, we can glean a little bit from Mr. Bragg, because between Letitia James and Bragg, they've kind of tipped their hat. What they're going to try and do, and this is my opinion, they are going to try and say that he has committed real estate fraud, akin to saying that Trump has gone in and said, the value of this land is $500,000, and then pay the tax on the $500,000. But goes out and gets a loan for $5 million value. Well, I don't know about New York, but I know out where I am, I can't say what the value of my property is and say this is the tax I will pay. No, there's something called assessments, county assessments, or state assessments, where they come and they say, we value your property at X, and you will pay taxes based on that value. So again, I think that what they're going to try and do is they're going to try to say that he was creating fraudulent attempts. Now, in the law, in the 110 law, it specifically states that in order to up-ramp this or bootstrap this up to a felony, these misdemeanors up to a felony, they have to be able to show that there was fraudulent intent. Fraudulent intent with the monies of these supposed bookkeeping errors that had to do with Stormy Daniels' $130,000. Well, we already have in 2018 Michael Cohen's lawyer saying Michael Cohen paid out the $130,000 to Stormy Daniels and then called Trump. We even heard a recording that Michael Cohen had recorded his conversation with Trump, saying that he had already paid Stormy and that he needed to get the money reimbursed. And through the lawyer of Cohen in 2018 said that he was never reimbursed. So if Trump didn't put the money out, which we're still waiting to see if that shoe's going to drop, then how did he do anything wrong? And if he was already out of the company in 2016 and your claims are 2017, then he was not the party of interest. So these are the things that aren't making sense with the way that they're just trying to ramrod this. But the left are going out there and says, he just needs to be arrested for all the crimes. Again, prove the crime, because Stalin's general, which didn't end well for him, had said, show me the man and I'll find you a crime. And that's what they're doing with Donald Trump. They're trying to bolster this up, and they're trying to, he spent yesterday with Letitia James. She's trying to talk to him about all the stuff, and I am willing to bet that that's where they're going with this, that they are going to try and hit him with real estate fraud. After all, that's what his background is. Then they're going to come at him from Atlanta. They're going to try to have a grand jury indict him there in Atlanta, Georgia, in Fulton County. And they're going to say that he was trying to interfere with the election. It's interesting, but I always find that when it comes to the Democrats, they typically are guilty of what they're saying that you are. So that's my thinking on that. Now, the resident goes to Ireland. This is kind of interesting. But the resident goes to Ireland when we're sitting on the brink of World War III. Claims it's not on a vacation. Has no real task to do there. And then takes Hunter and his sister, Valerie, with him. And we've got video now of his gaffes where Hunter has to step in and correct him, guide him. Oh, no, that's not what was said, Dad. They said this. Oh. What an embarrassment on the United States. Shuffling around, having doors closed on him, really confused, kind of walking like, oh. I want to feel sorry for the guy. But I can't. And the reason I say I want to feel sorry for the guy is because my dad did go through the same thing. My dad passed away from a severe case of dementia. And myself and my brother, we put up with that. We saw that. We dealt with that. It really angers me that they're putting this man, who has obviously got some capacity issues, through this. We need to have Congress invoke the committee for an Article 25. Not an article, 25th Amendment. That would be a faster way of doing things than an impeachment. Because Nancy Pelosi set that up in 2020. She set that up to where it's not just the presidential cabinet. Now Congress can have a committee assignment and find out if there's cause for a 25th. Then it doesn't have to go to the Senate. The 25th Amendment can be done right out of Congress. He needs to go away. But you got to ask yourself, why is he taking his son and his sister, babysitters, handlers? Because they're the ones that can be the closest to him. And it is sad to see. But not only is it sad, it's embarrassing. It's an embarrassment. We are a laughing stock around the world. So, some other things came out. A leak comes out on a Discord server. You heard me mentioning this about the Restrict Act. I envision that now Congress is going to call in the powers to be of the Discord platform and start drilling them as to how a 21-year-old gamer slash reservist or guardsman, Air Force guardsman, can put top secret Pentagon papers on a Discord server to his buddies. So they're going to start ramping this up. Oh, he's a MAGA. They're going to ramp this up. I'm sorry, this 21-year-old didn't do this by himself. I'm just telling you that. He's a scapegoat, in my opinion. I think we have a Snowden on our hands. I'm not saying what he did was right. Don't get me wrong on that. But I can't help but think that he just saved this country from going into World War III. He has exposed, through his deed, the United States breaking the law out of the Biden administration, sending troops into Ukraine, fighting Russian soldiers in a proxy war with Russia. That's right. We are at war with Russia, and American people don't even know it. How many Russians have been killed by American soldiers now? And I'll guarantee you that if one American soldier is killed by a Russian sniper, it will be World War III. So I'm hoping that Jack is that smart, that he knew that he is going to fall on his sword to get that information out. That we are in a proxy war. An illegal war. A non-sanctioned by Congress war. It really irritates me. It pisses me off that this administration and the Democrats all around that support this administration are so anti-constitutional, and they run this country. And it frustrates me that Americans aren't seeing it and hurting enough to do something about it. We all need to start caring more about this country. And then we have to do something about it. Well, I can't do anything because I might lose my job. That's okay. Go ahead and stay at work, we're just going to lose our country. But no big deal. Just keep your job while you can. Because that's where we are. And that's the fight that I've been seeing firsthand for over a year now. I'm not giving up, keeping my finger on the pulse, seeing which way we need to go next. How can we get the people to do en masse in all of the states, like what we're seeing going on in France right now, with what I will say is a second French Revolution? They're there. So I'm going to look at some of the comments and see what you guys are talking about, see what I might be able to respond to here. Hey, Gunny. Good to see you in there, buddy. Let's see. Yeah. I wouldn't say that he's got Alzheimer's, but he definitely has senior senile dementia. That's, in my opinion, I'm not a doctor, but you don't live with relatives that are like that and not recognize what it is. You know, if I put my conspiracy theory hat on, my tinfoil hat on why Biden went to Ireland, a lot of people out there on the internet are saying that maybe he's making a deal somewhere. I don't know that the Irish are that stupid, to be honest with you. But it could very well be that they're looking for a place to hide money. Because after all, the Ukraine is a cleanup operation. I don't know if you know that, but you don't have four major political bodies and people in the United States that have kids that work for energy companies in the Ukraine. And nobody knows. The mainstream media doesn't want to report on that. They're real quick to speak to the fact that they want to end non-clean energy and replace it with clean energy, yet their children work for gas and oil companies in other countries and are making millions of dollars doing it. Can't buy it. Can't buy it for $1. Just saying. Oh, by the way, did you guys see Cat Turd? Cat Turd with Donald Trump Jr.? Wasn't that great? That was really good. So, Donald Trump Jr., you can contact me anytime. I'd like to go on with you and discuss what it is. I've been fighting this on the ground as well. But, yeah, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So, trying to get a hold of a couple of other folks, though. Yeah, the shoulder is doing really well. I was at physical therapy today. I have about 75 to 80% movement in one direction. It's kind of stiff now because I had physical therapy today, but I got about 20% another way and about 60% another way. So it's coming right along. And I'm really quite happy with how it's coming out, actually. I'm still putting up with some soreness, especially after the physical therapy. But other than that, it's doing great. I do have an MRI scheduled for next week. Got some other things up in the ticker here they got to take an MRI and take a look in there and see if there's something going on. But I'm not even going to worry about it. We'll address it. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Let's put it that way. But that's, I think, whatever the 19th is, next Wednesday. Yeah. So next Wednesday for that MRI brain scan. So, but I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Still going to keep up the fight. Let's see. Hey, Brad, I see that you're in there too. Hope all's going well with you. Yeah, Regina May. Yeah, the I've had some dealings over the last month and a half or two that I've been dealing with, and they seem to be unexplained at this time. So they want to take a peek inside the old noodle cavity and see if there's something going on. Some of it has to do, my what appears to be, well, the hearing loss, bringing in the hearing aids, and then digging into some other issues that I had. So we're gonna take a peek. I'm confident everything's gonna be fine, so no problem. But we'll do what we've got to do, and then next month it's knee time. Got to take a look at that right knee, and that, as you know, when I was on the walk, that was something that I was having to work that out, and so we had to take care of the frozen shoulder, now the head and the knee. Hey, I'll be the $6 million man by the time all is said and done, right? Just kidding. Hi, Leo. Thank you for your prayers there, Judy. Appreciate that. So, okay, yeah, so I'm going to take you over to some things that we're watching over here. That's a good thing to look at. And what I have on the screen here right now is they've actually got him listed as Air Force One, but I don't call that Air Force One. I call that DS1, Delta Sierra 1, which stands for Dipshit 1. So Dipshit 1 is airborne out of Dublin, and there are two other blue and white birds that are currently chasing him down there. Why do we need so many airplanes over there? Okay, because the other bird that was there is almost all the way back already. Is this dude right here, Grim 99? That is a doomsday plane that went to England, to the UK, during Dipshit 1's trip. So Grim 99 will probably go back to Offutt over outside of Omaha. And what we're seeing is Dipshit 1. Okay. This is Washington, D.C. here. This right here at the center of this is Dover Air Force Base in Baltimore, or in Maryland. Sorry, in shoot, Delaware. Thank you. See, got to have the noodle checked. But looks like he's going to land at Dover in Delaware. And then he's going to be at a beach house, I'm thinking, for the weekend over here in Delaware. So, Rehoboth Beach, Delaware to be exact. So we're watching that. And the other one we're watching, poof, man, he's quick. This little airplane that I'm watching right here that left out of Indiana and has landed outside of, or has landed in Nashville, is Trump Force One. So he's already landed. He's on the ground in Tennessee. He's going into the belly of the beast. So pray for him. So we'll see exactly what he does there tonight. And then he'll probably head back to Mar-a-Lago after that. So we'll keep an eye on that. All right, so if you haven't done so already, don't forget to go out to patriotroster.com. And that when you get out there to Patriot Roster, go ahead and press the register login button and create your registration. And because like I said last week, and I'll say it again, right now I don't know. I honestly don't know that there's anything we can do with any kind of a walk. We need to roster up. We need to have everybody come together, create this roster. So we need to prepare. We need to prepare with food, water, protection, communications. Who can you trust? Start working on your library. What do we mean by that? Get yourself a binder. Put together pages in the binder with all of your access, where, and your passwords. Should anything happen to you, your family members have access to your stuff. You know, where did you hide the mason jar in the backyard? That kind of stuff. Obviously, it's secure to just you. And then how-to books. I actually have, and I'll do something with you here in a few weeks maybe. From 1968, I have the Popular Mechanics Encyclopedia set. You pretty much do anything and everything back in older technology, if you will. That was the first encyclopedia set my dad got me for my 8th birthday. So it's my 9th birthday. So for my 9th birthday, I got that set of encyclopedias. So how to pretty much do anything and everything. Seriously. As part of the library. When the shit hits the fan and you've got to do something, do you know how to do it? If you don't have the internet, if you don't have cell phone service, do you know how to do it? Over on Patriot Roster, there are some forums there. You can communicate what your skill sets are in the forum, pass it on to others. Because I think we need to prepare for the worst and hope for the best at this point. We need to support President Trump, in my mind, because I honestly believe he's the only one that can get us out of this shit. Trust me, if there was another person out there that wasn't somebody that could be bought, that could basically tell all those people, I don't need your money, kiss my ass, bye-bye, and was a patriot like him, I'd be going for him too. This is, to me, he's shown what it is that he's looking to do, and it happens to align with my own thinking, so that's where my support's going. So I think we've had a fairly good run today. Go to patriotroster.com and and also, if you feel like you could, buy me a cup of coffee. Helps keep the servers going, since my shoulder injury and going out on the road, I haven't been able to work myself, so anything helps. But the biggest thing is we need to get ready, and I'm certainly going to do whatever I can. If you need me out there in a protest and it's close and I can do it, let's do it. Let me know. We need to get people to wake up. We need to get people to understand that we're fighting for the very existence of this country. I'm going to start burning up the phones and see if I can't get a hold of a couple of senators and some congressmen. Say, hey, we did, we did what we said we were going to do. Thank you. We fought that fight. Now we're on stage 2. I'm going to get a hold of them, and we'll go from there. So if you can think of anything else, I'll pop over here one more time and check the chat. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Regina May. Well, let me look over there, Regina May, and see if you were successful there. Be patient when registering, by the way, because I get a lot of spam over there. I'm going to assume you're using the same handle. If you're using the same handle, I do not see your registration over there, Regina. So be patient if you're trying to register, and when you get your email, check your spam folder and make sure that because if you don't reply to the email, your registration won't happen. You have to reply to the email. That's one of the ways that we keep these foreign idiots away from the server. But unfortunately, that's what we have to do. We're on that side of the coin where they're trying to cancel us, but this is on my own server, so. So we've got we've got 3 or 4 of you have gotten in there, and we're successful, it looks like. So that's good. That's good. And take a look around the site. And once you've looked around, if you have any questions, shoot off an email or post a topic up in the forums. Go over the mission statement, see what it is that we're trying to achieve. Ultimately, we're trying to get our country back. And I don't know that we can wait another year and a half. I do know that we still have to vote, even though we know that there's a problem with the systems. We still have to overload. We have to come out in force. If voting early is available, I know that most Republicans want to vote on Election Day. I mean, I get it. But that's when they're going to try and deep six us like they did in Maricopa County. So fight the fight. Vote. Vote. If you can run for an office in your area, run for office. School board, dog catcher, state assembly. Do it. I am considering a run for District 27 here in Nevada. I'm considering that. I have until March of next year to make that decision on whether or not I'm going to run for assembly in District 27 here. They've flipped it all up and upside down here. And in my district, I think I could actually go door to door and get enough of the demographics to make a difference out here. So I am considering that. We just have to survive this. It's going to be kind of rough. Okay, folks. I won't take up any more of your time. I wanted to get as much of the information out that I could. One more scan here. Okay, so you logged in, Regina May? And that's your username? I'm not seeing you. Try that. Yeah, it's good seeing all of you in here. And, spread the word. Share the site. Share the information. I'm up on Twitter. I mean, I've gone out on 7 platforms tonight. So, share it. Whatever platform you're on. Let people know. We need to start building up to, I've been saying it for over a year, so I feel like it's a broken record thing, but let everybody know, because with the people that are coming here and watching the videos, we're not going to be able to change the needle. Moving the needle is going to be difficult. But if anyone, you all know me. I have been true to my word since day one. Ending that state of emergency was step 1. And I got to tell you, that feels good. The state of emergency is what they were using to compress our rights. Now we can start to heal, and we can now fight the rest. It's time to prioritize. That's, we've been prioritizing this the entire way. State of emergency is done. Now we go to 3884, and at the same time 686. This is like a boxing match, man. And the punches are coming out, and so we got to keep up the fight. We got to keep up the fight. Oh, welcome to the room there, Nancy. So, all right, folks, it's been an hour. I'll let you all get back to it. Love all of you. Thank you for tuning in. And God bless you. God bless the United States. Let's keep it up.